I've never gotten one client from all this investment and business coaching and education through marketing. I only ever got it because of those that I knew. I'm Jared Broughton. I've been an avid runner and serious runner for 17 years. I'm very proud of that. I'm visually impaired, so I can't see very far. I started out in the fitness industry about in my early 20s. And what led me to coaching was essentially that mostly people get into fitness and it's not like a regular government private sector kind of job. It's something that you end up being a freelancer or a contractor. And so because I had this fitness and health education from Algonquin college wise, and I wanted to apply it, and then it didn't work out. I couldn't support myself. I couldn't move out of my parents' house. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to live with my spouse. I went back to school to get to work in administration. Then I worked my way to get a regular 9 to 5 job. Oh my goodness, 9 to 5. Oh geez. But I was determined to get financial security, and that's all my parents cared about was for me. When they realized that fitness wasn't working out as a personal trainer or freelancer as it were, or contractor. When you're trying to find clients, you're basically an entrepreneur. And when I finally got my government job, someone randomly came to me at a running group that I was at and said, wow, you're like, we really developed a friendship. She said, you'd be a really good running coach. Have you considered coaching? Wow, you can make this really big. All you would really need is a social media following and all that. And that's kind of how it all started. So that was about 3 years ago.
Gotcha. So you were running and someone external suggested like this might be a career path for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you have your job. Is it rewarding? No, not really. But oh, you're really good at this and you know your shit. You should do this.
Was that person a coach themselves, or were they just
No,
like a friend of
a
yours?
friend. Or just a friend, someone that's very type A personality, and she runs a business herself, but nothing to do with coaching though. No, it was
Gotcha.
just someone that had that entrepreneurial background, and she said, "I can help you start up, and I see potential." So it was basically someone's belief in me before I even thought of it, because I had a bad experience being a personal trainer. I didn't have the heart for it. I didn't care about it. It wasn't paying the bills, obviously. So I had all these reasons to stop that. But then someone like her came around and said, you just didn't specialize. If you're a running coach, you could really show your craft and your passion, and people would pay money for that. Like, really? That's a thing? There's enough money for that? I mean, I have had running coaches, but none of them did it full time. Because, well, if you work hard enough, you can do it. And so it was like, well, running and all this manifestation about how, if I worked hard enough, I will achieve.
I think it's super interesting that the idea came like earnestly from someone
Yeah.
who wasn't like out to benefit from you.
No.
But at the same time, I find it interesting that they're still like, maybe their intentions were good, but the way in
Yes.
which they suggested your success is inevitable is questionable.
What's ironic about this whole thing is she ended up to be my first client.
Okay,
So she
interesting.
got me going. She said, like, I can really start you off, like, you really know your shit. Like, I'll help you with your social media, and I'll even let you be your first guinea pig. Like, she was my guinea pig client.
So you have this client, you're working with her, and then are you getting other clients? Like
Word
how
of
does your
mouth.
progress through the coaching industry work?
Just as a disclaimer, I didn't know how to filter advice, right? So I just hired a marketing agency because I didn't want the guessing work. I didn't even want to think about it. I didn't want to, it's like, I wanted them to create my profile. They literally started a business page on Facebook and Instagram, and they would just grow it. It was just terrible content. I don't want to get into it. It's not worth discussing, but it was just overall, I wasn't satisfied with the 3-month contract. And so someone said, well, you should hire a coach. And this is where the ads come in, right? Like, if you want to do well in business, you have to invest in yourself. And so I found a platform that connects people with coaches called Numi. And so I found my first business coach on that. It was a recommendation. The rest kind of started in that direction because of the ads that kind of said, this is how you're going to grow, is if you invest in yourself and get coaching, or hire someone that's been there, done that. You don't know what you don't know, right? So I felt like, because I was so used to being coached and told what to do as an employee, and someone being told what to do in school, that I my only knowledge was that I had to hire externally in order to get ahead. That was all I knew at that time.
So you start this business under the recommendation of someone else. They're your first client. You start to get a few referrals.
Yeah.
Then the referrals dry up and you have no experience in this industry. So
No.
you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And then you decide, okay, I'm going to outsource my marketing. I'm also going to hire a coach to help me build this. What happened next?
So first coach was her sweet spot is marketing, but technically she calls herself a business coach. So starting in December 2023, I hired her for a 3-month contract, and her package was 3,000 USD, and in Canadian dollars is around 5,500. So I spent 5,500 for a 3-month contract for the inner circle. I learned a lot about how to market, what to post on social media organically, how to do lives, how to get out of my comfort zone.
So you hired her to help you specifically with your marketing over the course of 3 months. Did that help bring you any clients, or what was the result of that program?
One client, but it had nothing to do with her program. Again, it came from word of mouth. I got another client because it was from a running program who heard of me because I'm very well known in the running community. I've never gotten one client from all this investment in business coaching and education through marketing. I only ever got it because of those that I knew. I was in the right place at the right time, and I left a positive impression because I met those people in person. It had nothing to do with online marketing.
Gotcha. So you worked with the first coach, results were kind of
No.
whatever. And then you decided to hire a second one?
Yeah, I hired one that it was a little cheaper. It was on he specializes in Instagram. And it was just random, like he just DM'd me out of nowhere because he started following my content. He's like, hey, I'm a running coach too. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a sponsor of Esoterics. So I've been there, done that. I can help you grow your Instagram. I would do posts 3 times a week. He would tell me how to do B-roll. He would encourage me to run while filming myself. I didn't enjoy it. Like all these things, be like, Jared, you just have to get outside your comfort zone and people will see it. You just naturally grow credibility. I spend more time video editing than I'm actually coaching or promoting myself. I'm not a content creator. And that's what I tried to explain to them. And I felt like they weren't listening to me. I don't care. I just want to get the message out. And if people want what I want, they want. But it's like, come on, you got to dream big. You know, you want to do this full time. Come on, if you want to leave the 9-to-5 hamster wheel, you have to do these things. And come on, it's your passion. You don't work a day in your life. Blah blah blah. Nothing came out of it. The only thing I learned from it was how to do really good videos and how to go live and how to do DM conversations. So that was his big thing. How to do sales calls and DMs.
He was essentially teaching you the formula that worked for him. Like, these are the types of videos I post. This is what I do.
Yeah. It's basically just like mimicking what I'm doing. Probably not the same production value, like the same production quality, but it was still like, I feel like more for him was more about how to have more good video value. Because I'm visually impaired, it takes me twice as long. So I'd be on CapCut. I learned how to use different software. Like, okay, there's my return on investment, but financially, not at all. It's like I would just accept things in life saying, well, Jared, you're going to have to do things you don't enjoy. But it's like, when is this payoff? I'm only doing it because they said it's going to work. Well, when?
Well, it's interesting to listen to you now say like, oh, that was my return on investment, is like learning how to use CapCut. I'd be curious to hear if while you were going through that experience, is that what you were thinking? Is that what you were telling yourself? Is like, oh, well, at least I'm learning this new skill. Or were you the whole time like, where's my money?
Yeah, but that's the thing is, I started developing a desperation mentality at that point, like a scarcity mindset, because I wanted to make my money back more than I actually wanted to coach. Whereas if I didn't invest, like this is going to be a very philosophical viewpoint, but if I didn't invest the money into business coaching and I did it more passively, yes, I would have grown more slower, and that wouldn't have stopped. I would have still had the clients because all of it was word of mouth, remember? So it wouldn't have made any difference. I wouldn't have had this scarcity desperation mindset if I didn't invest into business coaching. But I was just constantly told that, well, I've hired running coaches, I've hired mentors, I've hired career counselors, I've had social workers in my past because of my visual impairment. So I'm almost so used to investing in myself. Like this to me was a no-brainer. But again, it came back to what I've noticed, the trend in your thing is, and from all these ads from business coaches is that they assume what worked for them is going to work for me. and that's what I've learned about advice, is that there's no guarantee that's going to work. They would have to be in my exact situation for it to work, but I learned that too late.
Okay, so what was the, I guess, like the progression of that relationship then, or like what happened next? So you first program, not great. Get another coach, learned a few things, but still wasn't seeing the growth in your business. How are you feeling at that point, or like what kind of transpired after that?
I feel like I needed more attention to detail. Like I feel like I needed more personalization. I was still feeling like I wasn't doing enough because it's the hustle mentality. Like if you want something bad enough, you would have it by now. So you should sign up for my program. And that's when these ads started popping up. I started feeling really tired. So I started like I got a client and I wanted to embrace that. So I took a break for a month just to focus on my one client. But then I realized, well, no, if I get into a passive mentality, I'll lose momentum. And so I was so afraid of losing momentum that I had to get accountability. And so I found another coach that I saw on a Facebook ad. It was for an online, authority accelerator, excuse me. And it was a group program and was led by a really big health coach. He teaches coaches to be coaches, right? And so his logic is, I've invested $1.5 million into my professional development, so you should invest in me because I know my shit and I'm going to get you the same results. In his ad, he specifically said, are you tired of posting on social media and getting absolutely, getting crickets and it feeling like a grind? Well, I have the perfect system for you. So I watched his webinar, I go through the funnel, I go through his funnel. I signed up, I do the ad, and I tell the salesperson, I said, listen, this is my situation. I really want this. I've worked so hard. These are the other courses I've tried that didn't work. It's like, okay, great. Well, based on your financial situation, since you're not making 5K per month, we have this entry-level program that you can do, and it'll guarantee you get to 6K per month. So here's the keyword here in the sales pitch. Guaranteed, we can get you to 5 to 10K per month, so you can get you to our mastermind health accelerator program, which is the $25,000 Canadian. I'm like, okay, fantastic. You're guaranteed your system. Apparently, I took him completely at his word. Like I was that engrossed in this. I've gone all this far, and you're guaranteeing me in 6 months from now that I can go from 5 to 10K per month. And I'm like, okay, fine, sign me right up. Because it was actually in the ad, and the salesperson said it too. So I joined the program. It's a kind of a copywriting, kind of a lower scale. Like they take you through a program. They take you through like a step-by-step program. I learned a lot. I really did learn a lot. But the problem was it was more of a program course than it was a coaching, because you get 50 minutes per week, and sometimes you don't even get to ask him, because there's like maybe 20 people in a group session, and he only has time to answer 10 questions. So there's no guarantee. If you don't raise your hand on Zoom fast enough, you lose your chance. So it's like, well, value is an extraction game. Yes, I understand that. But the fact that even when I tried to extract as much as possible, I couldn't get what I needed to get that 5K to 10K per month guarantee. And I raised that to him. It's like, well, he said, when I raised this to him, I asked the question. I said, what about the whole guarantee thing? Like, I'm feeling under pressure because you're saying your system is supposed to get me to this point. I actually called him out on this in one meeting in front of 20 people. So why is that? And he says, well, instead of whining and being a victim about it, how about we just take responsibility for our actions and just do the actions that you have to do to get yourself out there, promote yourself, do your content, be consistent, just be all the habits, and it'll naturally manifest itself into your life. Well, your business is working on you, not against you, blah, blah, blah.
Like, did you sign a contract? Was there an actual guarantee, or was this all just talking?
Oh, no, it was a guarantee. It was actually written in the ad. Like, it was actually written in the program description.
So then what's the follow through on that? If I join and I don't hit 5, 6, 10K, what do I get to get coached forever? I see that a lot. Like, if you don't get results, we'll keep coaching you. What was their resolution to that?
Nothing, unfortunately. It was, they'll have a follow-up, and then they'll try to resell you on a year instead of 6 months. They'll try to sell you like, are you happy with your results? No. Well, if you need more coaching, we'll sign you up for like $1,000. So like it's cheaper, but you get a whole year with us instead of just 6 months. So what happened was after I signed up, they noticed that people weren't hitting results and they realized that wasn't realistic. Obviously not, especially in this day and age online. And they actually removed the ad. And so it was very deceptive for the people before that guarantee was removed, because they started noticing people were complaining and they were called out on it so often that there were going to be, there was going to have some repercussions if they didn't remove it. So then they said, well, actually that was removed, so you don't get compensated for it. It was like, well, you have to take responsibility. How about you just try to stay positive, stuff like that. But I don't know. There wasn't much repercussion. It was a sales tactic.
I just wasn't sure if there was some kind of contract that specifically outlined that this was a guarantee, because to me, it's one thing to say whatever in an ad, I'll help you build a 6-figure business. But when you give me money, if I'm not actually guaranteeing that, then I'm not really liable for whatever I said in my ad. So I guess I was more curious if you like actually signed a contract that said you were going to get that result.
Editing Danielle here, just wanted to add a little excerpt because I feel like I misspoke here, and I'm not trying to say that these people don't have a responsibility to be truthful in their advertisements, because that's absolutely not the case. In fact, the FTC clearly outlines on their website that deceptive or misleading marketing is something that they can be held accountable for. I think more so in this specific conversation, I'm referring to the need for evidence. So if there was a contract in place, that's an easy way to demonstrate that, yes, we agreed to these terms. However, it's not likely, at least in my experience, that you would screenshot an ad that you're then clicking on to buy, because you're not going to assume that they're being deceptive.
It was kind of like, this program is to guarantee you to 5 to 10K per month. But in the ad, they say, we guarantee you that you'll be able to make, if you follow our system to a T, we'll get you to 5 to 10K per month to get to our graduate program. That was their whole hook.
Right.
That's how they got people. Let me press this by saying the only reason I joined that program was because of that guarantee, because I was already burned twice and it was already tired. So what hooked me on the ad on Facebook, like the actual visual, like the video ad, was, are you tired of social media feeling like a grind? Well, I have the solution for you that you can make 10K per month based on our content creation roadmap.
Everyone has their perfect system that you might be a fit for, AKA, as long as you get on the sales call, you're the perfect fit. Give me your money.
Yeah.
So then what did you, I guess, learn from this experience? And was that your end with coaching, or what happened next?
So in between that, I actually hired a 4th coach. So this is where the final coach came in, because in between I wasn't getting what I wanted. I realized that, okay, well, I need more personalized support. So I hired another coach. She's a sales coach. Specifically, her expertise is how to improve sales in your small business. And she didn't just specialize in coaching. It was a lot. So it was $1,600 per month for bi-weekly meetings for about, forever. Like that, it would be just a recurring thing. Like you would contact her when you want to cancel. So she has a sales training program, and then she has a personalized one. So I was doing that while I was doing the online group program with marketing. What I got out of it was caring less what people thought. I learned how to get outside my comfort zone. I learned a shitload about Instagram and Facebook. I started a Facebook group. She helped me create my business plan, which is something that this online accelerator, this entry-level program, they never said once a business plan. It just felt like nothing worked for me. Like I felt like I was never doing enough. And it was only because, well, Jared, the more you invest yourself, the more you're going to get back. So the sunk cost fallacy was actually weighing on me even more at this point. I tried everything.
It's super interesting to me to listen to you share this story, because I feel like specifically with the last coach you're speaking to resonates with my experience working with a coach, where I didn't see any return in my business financially. Similar to you, I would say I learned how to make a Facebook group, and I learned how to do discovery calls, and I learned how to film a webinar, and I learned how to blah, 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 blah. This whole laundry list of things that I learned. But even learning those things, I didn't actually learn them in a way that resulted in converting prospects into paying customers, which is ultimately the goal of a business.
Yes, 100%, to make revenue.
We tend to, when we're in these sort of containers, as I like to call them, we tend to bog ourselves down with so much busy work to feel like we are working really hard and we're putting in a lot of effort and we're doing all this stuff, even if we're not actually getting a return or doing the active coaching that we want to be doing. It's more about like making ourselves feel as though we're making use of these investments when perhaps it's a bad investment and it doesn't matter how much effort you put into it. It's not going to yield you a return. So it's interesting to hear your story because I feel like that was my experience as well.
People in these business programs, they're having you do high ticket items. So let's say, $2,000 to $5,000. I've never even paid someone that much for running. And I've been doing it for 17 years. People invest money into food, shoes, physical therapy, like physiotherapists. I'm none of those things. It's not even what I'm interested in. Or people who invest into going to running groups, but that's free. So everything, I was fighting an uphill battle, but no one was listening to me.
I think that's the problem that a lot of people end up facing or finding themselves in the situation is because so many, and this is a bit of a generalization, but because so many of those coaches will often just, this is what works for me, therefore it's going to work for you, without taking into consideration what your business actually is. The problem with that is then, much to your point, they're telling you to charge exorbitant prices for services that there isn't a market for. So like they're trying to sell you on this idea that you can have whatever it is, a 6-figure business, 10K a month, blah, 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 when there's no market of anyone paying $10,000 a month for that service.
But that's when they started going to, like, well, if you just have to be good at sales, you have to believe in yourself, be good at marketing, be good on the phone. And it's like, if you have enough conviction, you can sell to anyone. I hate to use the word, but I feel like I've been brainwashed to believe that.
Definitely. So what was the aftermath of all of this? So you go through all these coaching programs and then what?
The aftermath was I invested $10,000 of my own money, savings into it. I started craving alcohol more because of it. I felt burnt out. I even stopped enjoying running as much. I didn't even want to do a race. Like the most recent race I did for myself, I had the social pressure of people saying, well, I'm going to have to publish this content on my race and the things I learned from it, but I didn't have a good day. So it was the constant pressure to perform because of it. The other aftermath was almost letting go of things outside my control and caring less what people think. I almost had no choice. And then when I followed your content, it was like a wake-up call. I'm like, holy shit, you indirectly saved me from that. I'm like, wow, all of this resonates with me. And all of these interviews, it's like there was always one takeaway I got from it, like, wow, I basically cannot handle any more advice. And I realized the aftermath of this was I learned that advice is just a subjective experience that worked for someone else. I joined a support group on this, and I was talking about grief and all this because I'm grieving over this, right? Because I feel like it was something that I invested a lot of money and a lot of energy into it, and it didn't work out. And someone said something very profound to me. So Jared, for many years, based on everything I disclosed, he said, you sacrificed your confidence for someone else's validation. So I've been constantly guided and told what to do, but I basically lost my intuition because of all of this coaching, mentorship, consultation, feedback from friends, colleagues, peers in the running community, because I wanted to believe I was meant to do this. And everyone just said, you just got to change direction. You just got to keep going. Don't give up. Runners don't give up. You only lose if you give up. And that has a very toxic message to it, to a point. And that really triggered me. I couldn't handle anymore. Like I literally broke. As bad as that sounds, like you can call me weak all you want, but it's like I learn more what I don't want more than I want. So there's the takeaway there.
I think that's a really important piece though, is like, if we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to just accept the fact that maybe these were faulty investments and it wasn't our best decision in hindsight, rather than, because the alternative to that is continuing to convince yourself like one more investment is going to solve this problem, one more investment. And that's how you just like dig that hole even deeper. I think like there comes a point where you either break or you just keep going. And I don't think, in my opinion, the latter for most people is going to end positively. Like you're going to crash and burn eventually.
But what these business coaches talk a lot about is if you just try hard enough or long enough, it'll work out for you no matter what.
Which is not true.
I know, but that's what they say. It's a limiting belief. But one of the things that really hits me the most is, oh, well, most businesses fail because of the leader, not the business. Really? Maybe there's just no one out there that wants what you can solve. What if I don't have anything of value to offer? Like, she says, like, you have something magnificent you could give to the world. Like, but what if I have no skills that I can offer to the world that would want to buy what I have?
If I have a brilliant idea, I think, this is the most amazing idea. If there's no market for whatever that amazing idea is, it doesn't matter how good I am at sales or how flashy my marketing is. No one's going to buy something they don't want. They don't want to admit that though, because then you won't buy their coaching program. Because
exactly, you can see why I've been triggered by these things because of my upbringing, right?
I'm just curious if you have any parting advice for anyone who maybe finds themselves in a similar situation.
Learn to listen to your intuition as soon as possible. Like if don't let them tell you that fear is just your gut saying you should do it. It's actually the opposite. Sometimes fear is actually your intuition saying don't do it. Like if it doesn't feel good and it's not something you deeply want or you're absolutely determined or you feel like it's not your life calling, don't do it. Don't do it, because all they care about is your money. At the end of the day, that's what they want. It's a business, right?
Thank you. That's a super important one. I feel like if we need to be able to discern what this person has to gain from getting us to believe whatever they're trying to sell us on, and whether or not they actually have our best interests in mind. So I really do appreciate that. Okay, as we wrap up this video interview, I just want to reiterate a few key things. I really believe that certain parts, particularly the deceptive and misleading parts of the coaching industry, really thrive on instilling fear and desperation into people that are seeking a solution for whatever problem they're facing. And I think that this conversation really highlighted how that plays out in practice. I also really believe that this notion of
anyone can be successful if they just try hard enough
really is just used as a means of deflecting the blame. When a client pays a coach and doesn't get results, they can then say the reason why they didn't get results is because they just
didn't try hard enough.
Second, I think that the sunk cost fallacy, the concept that your next investment is going to be the thing that helps you become successful, is really just a trap designed to keep well-meaning or well-intentioned people continuing to pay for more and more coaching in hopes that the solution is going to come. Because I've already invested so much money,
I might as well keep investing because that's going to eventually pay off.
I mean, we've seen so many cases of this in the interviews here on this channel. How many times have we heard the story of someone who spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars under the impression that they were going to get a return eventually, only to, in 99% of cases, have that not be the case? I just really hope that Jared's story can serve as a cautionary tale for anyone who has maybe considered starting a business or has fallen prey to the external pressures of people in their lives telling them that
they can be successful no matter what if they just believe.
And I encourage anyone watching this video who perhaps is in this position to just remember that it's okay to quit. It's okay to think that you want to do something, to try it out, and to not have it work. You can give up. That's okay. Save yourself the heartache and the financial despair and quit. Now, if you have a scam story that you want to share here on the channel, I have the form where you can submit your story linked down below, whether you want me to read it or you want to come on for an interview. It's linked in the description of all of my videos. I want to give a big thank you to our Millionaire VIP channel members, as well as my rich friends in the Billionaire tier. Now, YouTube thinks you're going to like this video over here, so I'll leave you on screen with that. Take care, comb your hair, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!